I'm going to show you something, and I want to see if you notice what I noticed. This is Chicago's West Side neighborhood of Austin. This is Division Street. Just take a look around. Soak it all in. This is a map of Chicago, and that's where I was. This is a map of the tree canopy. I was driving in that red circle. On the left-hand side is Oak Park, which is a suburb of Chicago, and on the right side is the west side of Chicago. Blue is the Black population, and green is Latino population. This is about where I was. This is what we saw in the video. This is the canopy in Oak Park compared to the west side of Chicago. This is a map of where you see extreme heat. Do you notice where all of that canopy is? What's the difference? Same area, look at the rates of air pollution and asthma. This is the risk of flooding. Having access to trees and green space improves health, mental health, physical health, reduces asthma. Not only is a canopy pretty, but it improves property value. It reduces the risk of flooding. Higher property value affects wealth, overall resources into the community. Every year, flooding displaces people. It ruins homes. Trees impact housing security. When there's no canopy, we also have heat islands. This impacts immediate health and safety, but also long-term health impacts and property value impacts. Having access to health and safety and housing and wealth are all generational impacts. The lower life expectancy rate in these neighborhoods is not unrelated to the urban canopy, to the green space, to the property values, to the asthma, to all of the things. The unequal distribution of resources, including access to food, housing, education, they all have immediate impacts on people, but they also have long-term impacts. Unequal access to green space and an urban canopy is a piece of that puzzle. Green space is an important resource. Groups like Open Lands and probably a group near you are doing the work to increase access to these resources for everybody. It's all connected.
So, trigger warning to women with brains, you will throw up at what I'm about to show you.
I don't think they necessarily need a man, but I think what they're looking for is that intimacy to have a partner. But I don't think that they require one.
Oh, no, they do. Because, a lot of these girls, they usually go home and cry at night from being lonely, from not having a man. They have all these things, and then they're upset they don't have a man.
He believes that. A lot of men believe that. They have no idea. They have no idea.
What idea do we need to have?
I'm gonna tell you a little secret. If I take a dolphin and I slow it down, it sounds like a monkey. If I take a chimpanzee and I speed it up, it sounds like a mouse. If I take a mouse, slow it down, it sounds like a seagull. If I take a seagull and slow the seagull down, sounds like a gorilla or a whale. If I take a whale and we speed the whale up, it sounds like birds. Here's some cows. Sped up, they sound like puppies. If we slow crickets down, we're back at birds. Information is transmitted via waves. We can see that, we can hear that. The fundamental is the carrier wave. The harmonics differentiate my voice from a singer. Whales communicate below our hearing, so we have to speed it up to hear it. Our hearing is right here, and above it.
Frickin' bats. I love Halloween.
Frickin' bats and whales and dolphins use higher frequencies to see. They bounce the waves off to get an image. Everything is connected this way. Grizzly bears even sound like humans.
apparently a lot of people don't know what the bird test is, which I'm sure there's like a better name for it, but that's wild to me because I live and die by the fucking bird test, okay? Because it never fails. And if you don't know what the bird test is, it's like a test to gauge like whether or not a relationship will be successful. And usually it's in the context of a romantic relationship, but I always do this with like friends, family members, literally anyone that I meet. If they pass the bird test, I tell them so fast because this shit is so fascinating, okay? And I'll give you an example. I meet this girl, we start becoming like newer friends, and we go to Starbucks one day. We're sitting at this table at Starbucks, and I'm looking out the window and I see a woodpecker in a tree, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a woodpecker in that tree. This girl whips around so fast, she's like, where? I kid you not, for the next 10 minutes, the two of us stared out the Starbucks window just watching this woodpecker fucking peck away at this tree while we Googled random facts about woodpeckers, okay? Now, the bird test states that if you're with someone, whoever you're gonna do the test with, romantic or not, if you say something that could be deemed like insignificant and your partner responds with like genuine curiosity, like, what woodpecker, where? That's a really good sign that your relationship will last a long time. But if they like blow you off, they don't acknowledge you, and they're just like, oh, cool, like a woodpecker, that's a really bad sign. And again, it's for romantic relationships. But I'm telling you, do this with your friends, do this with your family members, because that girl and I, still homies as fuck, all right? The bird test never fucking fails.
Ah, is that real? I doubt. Oh, what do you think? What did this do? What type of fish is that?
We're right here in the middle of nowhere again, guys. Look at all those faces there. Look at that. They melted in pyres, guys. Along with the giants. When the Tartarian. Look, these were you can tell these were structures. Look at the tunneling system that was left behind. Everything's here, guys.
According to textbooks, Earth's atmosphere has many layers. The layer from 100 km up to 600 km up, that layer, scientists call the thermosphere. And NASA said the thermosphere temperature is about 3 to 4,000 degrees. So hot. If that is true, how can ISS or Starlink satellites, they orbit at like 500 kilometers above Earth? How can they survive? How can satellites survive? 3,000, 4,000 degrees. You think space travel, space mission, ISS is real? Well, either way, either the thermosphere temperature is not 3,000 degrees, or ISS is fake. Very simple. Think about it. You don't believe me? Go Wikipedia, go Google to check out what's the temperature above Earth, 600 kilometers, 500 kilometers. Debunk me. Space missions are fake. All lies.
Ah, how do you think? Oh my god.
Really can make this shit up right now, guys. I'm right here on the plane and they got the blue lights scanning up everyone. And they're gonna tell me that the blue lights have nothing to do with nothing, because it's not like after 2020 something happened along with the 5G towers. No blue lights started scanning up everybody, something, no Luciferia, no nothing. Got it. It's you who thinks this is normal, who's normal in the head, and it's us who thinks this is not normal, who's not normal in the head.
Please love and care for your neighbor.
So I'm going to show you now a location where I think there is a huge UFO that has been covered up. Now, John Lear in 2018 spoke about a crash that happened in 1953 in Garrison, Utah. Now I'm going to show you that location. However, that is not the location where it crashed. John Lear has some of the information correct, but when you delve deeper into this, you will see why he has been confused. The location where the craft is that he felt crashed and was covered there, it was actually the stones, rocks and other bits that was taken from there by military helicopters and other places to, it was actually Mesa in Utah. And I'm going to show you the locations now, and then I'll speak after it. One sec. Just want to state as well, this is not the Ross Coulthart huge UFO building I'm about to show you. So this is Garrison, Utah, and this is where John Lear said the huge UFO crashed and it was buried because it could not be moved, and this was the location here. Now, when you delve deeper into it, you find out that there was helicopters and other things that was taking stuff from here east and covering something up. Now, when I put in this location, which is where research has taken me, you will see that there is something that stands out. Look at this. Look at the surroundings and look at this. And look what it is made of. Rubble, stones, all taken from Garrison in Utah. Now, what's interesting is there was a History Channel documentary on this led by Travis Taylor. And I'm going to speak about Travis Taylor in a moment. But please, take a look at this. Now, the person who did the History Channel documentary on this, when they investigated the maser, they was getting strange anomalies happening from inside that structure. They tried digging it, they couldn't penetrate. It was like it was hitting a force field and was spinning around and spinning around. What was interesting is who was heading that, who was the team leader of that? Travis Taylor. And what did Tim Burchett say the other day on the Sean Ryan podcast when Sean Ryan asked him, who would you say is probably a disinformation agent? It's someone you've said. Yeah. So I've watched that right through, and Tim Burchett, and there was a list of people, Stephen Gray, George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, and many others, and Travis Taylor was on that list, and I'll show you in a second. However, he spoke highly of Stephen Gray. He spoke highly of Lou Alexander. There was one person he didn't speak highly of, and that was Travis Taylor. And that was one person that Sean Ryan mentioned. And who better to lead a team of people to investigate the maser than a government disinformation agent, Travis Taylor? So go and investigate it. Come away saying, no, there's something there, but we can't do anything about it. I'm going to show you the video of Tim Burchett, and if I can, I'll show you the link to that History Channel program, so you can go and watch that. And then 1 minute I'll talk to you again.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, is there anybody in particular that you think is a government disinformation agent?
I'll just leave it at probably somebody you've mentioned in this conversation.
Okay.
And who does Travis Taylor work for? He is the lead investigator on UFOs for the Pentagon, who is being rumoured to take the job from Sean Kirkpatrick. There are two people. One of them, who I hope gets it, is Chris Mellon, and the other one is Travis Taylor. Now, I'm guessing if it's between them two, Mr. Travis Taylor will get that job, and we are all screwed. Because he has been covering everything up. Anything that is to do where there is some truth to this topic, he's all over it. Skinwalker Ranch. He is there all the time. Most of his videos and books are about Skinwalker Ranch. He does admit to things, but he does it in such a way, it doesn't give anything away, and the government can control it because it's Travis Taylor that's doing it. And this is what we need to watch out for. And he is most certainly the person that Tim Burchett said could well be a disinformation agent. So there we go. Please go do your own research. Don't just listen to what I'm saying to you. I hope what I've said helps you in your investigation. And we'll speak soon.
Oh my God.
And she even tells us that at that point she heard the Peruvian guy say, be careful, don't apply too much. You're going to ruin the flesh. And then she later explained that what she heard them saying was something about how if they apply too much, the flesh is going to stick to the skin when they take it off. Something along those lines. It wasn't exactly clear, but something like that. And then, and I may be skipping some minor details, and then they took out one of them took out a small device that you and I think is a laser scalpel, and they began to make an incision in her neck. In other words, they were very likely going to peel her face off, just like the legends say. At this moment, Talia began to struggle. She began to lift up the mask, the helmet of the guy behind her, the gringo holding her from behind. And as she was doing this, somebody, I think it was him, or if not the Peruvian guy who was holding her legs, one of them slapped her in the face. And when they did this, they dropped her. And this gave her a moment in which her mouth was no longer being covered, and she was able to scream. So she hits the ground, she screams. Her brother and her family members are on the other side of the house on the porch, sitting there outside. They have their flashlights on them. Talia's brother gets on the scene with his flashlight. The neighbors are up higher on the hill. They come down with their flashlights, and they all see the same thing. What they see are two individuals, these two individuals we just described, dressed in black, head to foot, very tall, hovering on these platforms, on these circular platforms. And Talia is lying there on the ground, bloodied up from the incision in her neck. Her face is swollen. And Talia says that at this moment, she heard the Peruvian face peeler say to the gringo, let's go, let's get out of here. And the gringo replied, no, we can't just leave her here. And according to Talia, he proceeded to grab her by the hair and try to drag her, perhaps lift her off the ground on his platform. The neighbors see this. They have their flashlights. They start to yell. And eventually the gringo drops her. And these guys maneuver themselves to where there's an opening in the trees. And they lift off the ground at a high rate of speed and disappear into the sky.
One of the things to understand here is that this is an area that is residential. It's surrounded by houses. Where this event happened was in her backyard. It's the one fruit tree that's in her backyard. Down a slope is a big chicken coop type thing, and then it goes back uphill, and that's where supposedly Talia was found by her father or brother, one of the two.
No, she was not found on the hill. She was found actually lying behind that hut.
Right in that little gully.
Now,
area.
maybe she can't remember, Doug. Maybe that's the last thing she remembers. Maybe the gringo, let's call him the gringo face peeler, maybe he dragged her up the hill by her hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's out of it. She's only at this point she's under the influence of an induced some sort of a chemical that's inducing a semi-conscious state, and she's basically going unconscious at the end of this incident.
I wish we could have had a toxicology test done on her to see if it was narcotic based or not. The cream that she put on, or that was put on her face, reminiscent to me, it sounds like a very high dosage lidocaine mixed with something else that vasodilates the blood vessels in the face. We did see the two scars. We saw them. Actually, it was Cisla, the father, showed us the picture on his phone the night it happened. And it looked like two burn marks. Mm-hmm. It looked like lacerations. It looked like the beginnings of two distinct burn marks, where not like it was precision, but like if someone was struggling. They missed the mark the first time and restarted. Right. One line was longer, one line was shorter. One of the things that she described, though, is as the man grabbed her, whichever one it is that grabbed her the first time by the fruit tree, he was down on the surface and hit something on his ankle like a button and activated the circular platform.
Yeah, that caused it to lift off the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thinking of this, they had to move so quickly, both of these guys, that we're not talking about like a hoverboard that you can buy at, some knick-knack place, even one that costs tens of thousands of dollars. This is a piece of equipment that's very agile, very mobile, and is very efficient, which is not what we've researched lately. We haven't researched anything that matches the description of what these guys were
No,
on.
we have nothing like this. This is not conventional technology. From all the descriptions that we've heard, it does not appear that we're dealing with propellers. This is some other kind of persuasion.
It's not even burning. Sort of, yeah. It's still cold. The crystals are still cold, though. Or, you know, just. It smells like melted.
Total number of people who have ever been born? Number's about 100 billion. Now ask, how many total possible people can be born? Just look at the genome and rearrange it. You know, it makes tall people, short people, you know, dark-skinned people, light-skinned people, everybody in between. You can make all kinds of people with the human genome. How many total humans are possible? That number is astronomically large. It is large, 10 to the 30th power, which is a billion, trillion. It's likely even bigger than that. Which means, in practical terms, no one who will ever be born will be identical to you, first of all, in every way. But that's not the most important fact. It's that we're the lucky ones. A point made by Richard Dawkins, more poetically than I can recite here. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to die. Because you only get to die for having lived. Most people who could ever exist will never even be born.
Now that's something very touching. Let's look at this. No more dogs at the beach. And now there is this other dog here that's just chilling. Good vibes dog. Just this is crazy, man.
Touching the lamp. So you can turn on the lamp with the dog's nose. Watch, watch, watch. Wow!
They've been telling us to our face for the longest. Our religions indoctrinate us to stay still and our movies indoctrinate us to stay still and this scene. You all know this movie, this scene. And we all know who this man is. Do you know what this scene really means? This is them telling us of a great reset. Neo, this is the 6th time. That's why all our movies depict oligarchs and society, and always society beating the oligarchs. I mean, all of them, Hunger Games, Divergent, etc., etc. Every single movie shows oligarch society, capitalist state. You look at it. Really look at the movies we watch. We are inundated. We are indoctrinated. We are programmed to believe we will be saved. But in all actuality, it's a great reset.
Precisely.
Systemic.
As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
It's a great reset.
Choice. The problem is choice. The first matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime. A triumph equaled only by its monumental failure. The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every human being. Thus I redesigned it, based on your history, to more accurately reflect the varying grotesqueries of your nature. However, I was again.
And Neo has to make a choice to gather a certain amount of people to rebuild Zion. Because the population of Zion has gotten to be too high. Who else is talking about population control in our world? Oh, our governments, our elites. And then you start doing a little history on Tartaria and how the times, they've changed the time we're actually in. And then they give you scripture, and then you got the UN with these statues, and then you got CERN with these statues, and then you got events happening in this world, Euphrates River. That is all a script so that we do what? Stay docile and get reset. I've been called fear-mongering. I've been called an alarmist. But I'm just noticing things that are in your face that a lot of people don't want to notice or don't want to think about. Because they know if they see, they're not going to like what they see. Why you guys think they want us divided so much on every front? Divided. Wake the fuck up!
So, about our closest star, a red dwarf about 4.25 light years away.
About 4.25, yes.
Well, one of its planets is habitable, as in it's in the Goldilocks zone of, technically, but it's currently locked, meaning it can't spin because of the gravity of its star. Now, why doesn't that happen to Mercury, being as it's so close to the sun?
Ooh, very good. See, if I go right to answer that question, the whole lead part of your question is like shows a lot of research that you've done, and it's not common knowledge. The entire lead up to your question is not common knowledge. So I'll go straight to the answer, but I wrote an essay called Tides and Time, and you can find it on the internet, probably I think on my website, Tides and Time, which will be related to this. So if you have a planet or anything that's orbiting close to something else that has strong gravity, tidal forces will slow down its rotation so that it'll only show one face to you. One face to you. And so when that happens, it's called being tidally locked. We have locked the moon. There's a far side of the moon, there's a near side of the moon. But there is no dark side of the moon. I don't care what Pink Floyd told you in 1973. Okay, so, Pluto and its moon Charon are close to one another. They have double tidally locked. They show the same face to one another as they move around. Mercury does not, and it's because Mercury has a resonance, okay? Mercury feels the gravity of other objects in the solar system, in particular Venus. And when you feel another source of gravity in addition to that of the sun does not succeed in totally tidally locking the planet. There's a tussle between the two objects.
Thank you, and I'm going to have to research half the words of that explanation.
Oh, okay.
Even for millions of other species, home hangs in the balance. Human actions are destroying habitats, decimating our entire ecosystem and disrupting the cycle of life. And with the rise in drought cases, it is up to us to be guardians of our own natural world, save our wild species, and provide a home.
So, let me take this minute to thank you all for watching up to this far. You are all very wonderful and lovely. And also to thank those guys that have been subscribing, to our new subscribers. Much love to you. You are all wonderfully and loved. God bless you for that gesture and spread love from wherever you are, guys. Much love to you. Big up everybody that's our member, and if you see the comment section, all those guys, please hit the like button. You are all very much loved. Watch it till the end.
Take a look at this small little example of harnessing plasma with a syringe. Now look at all the architecture of the old world. The domes, with the large antenna.
Listen.
Now you know I can't give you this in full decode, man. Not on this social media app. So I gotta give you the PG-13 version that nobody's seeing. Here. And so above, so below. There's a rabbit when you blow this up on their website in the clouds with 2 ears behind a veil, casting a shadow. There's another rabbit below with 1 ear missing and 1 foot missing on the left side. You notice that he has a red eye staring at the clock. Well, the foot stands for good luck, with the rabbit's foot missing on a keychain.
In this scenario, it's saying, good luck with the shit you're about to endure. That's a hidden message on this multi-layered board. What does it mean in one side, missing, ear and foot? It means sickness. That's where the red eye comes from, virus. It's pointing to the clock. The clock stands for, in Hebraic calendar year, the month and the day. It's reading 903. The month in Hebraic calendar year would be November. The day would be the 3rd. Here, let me show you. And so above, so below. The red eye, meaning virus. 3 years, corona mass ejection, energy burst, state. That is right here in Knox, Pennsylvania. Right next door to Ohio where they had that last derailment. I can only give my brother a little bit more of information with the content sensitivity on the social media app. Everybody's been talking about 11/15 or 11/16 with the Mickey Mouse Club watch. Remember, we're in the Hebraic calendar year. That stands for 333, not 11/15. 333 stands for 9/11 event. If you go to the Bulgarian calendar year, it would be 11/11, meaning November, Veterans Day. Mad Hatter, lightning bolt, event taking place.
I live in the Twilight Zone. 11/15 is also my brother's birthday, but he's talking about the 3rd. Also, one of the first eclipses back in 2017 happened on my birthday, August 21st. For the first time, I hope this time nothing happens. But I have the feeling it's not gonna happen. I want to do something. I gotta have a last ride. People, if you follow me, if you give a fuck about me, it fulfill my heart. I need like 3 to 5 people to send $20. And let me just get prepared for what is about to happen. Don't judge me. Empathize. Because money's not going to matter soon.
Yo, ancient Egypt stargates. Yo! What? Oh my god, look at this. Oh, these kids were very intelligent. This looks like...
I wrote the letters out, one each, on a bead chain, in the order that they were written in the text. So you could literally hold out the bead chain and read the first verse of Genesis. And then I took the bead chain and curled it up on itself so that the same letters lined up when we associated the letters slot A in tab A, tab B in slot B, etc., just like the paper pattern. And as you can see, all the letters are accounted for. They're all paired up. And if they're not paired with the same letter, like slot A and tab A and slot B and tab B, they're paired with letters that are in symmetrical positions in the alphabet. So there's a very basic, simple rule that enables all the letters of the first verse to be self-connected, just like the tabs and slots.
The reason I started it here, rather than on the edge someplace, is because I realized this was on the surface of a donut, which one could pull through. And I didn't want these lines to cross over in funny ways, so I simply rotated it through itself. But if it were on the surface of a donut, then that would all work as one unit. And so that's what the first verse of Genesis draws. It draws a kind of donut called a two-torus, a two-dimensional surface on a torus. So we've now identified the first verse of Genesis. It folds itself up into a donut. This is the bagel theory of reality. You just peel the 7-color map off of the donut, and you have a little vortex.
You can't make this shit up.
To this, but now with fresh eyes, now that we have open eyes and an open mind and we're a level of awareness, have a look at what's really going on. Dave, doesn't that look like George Bush and Tony Blair to you?
Yeah.
Having a piss up, having a laugh?
9/11
Is it?
year.
Well, is that? No, you know what that is, SCB. Holy! I just realized that. Hold on. You're close. Andy Cart.
Oh.
That's the image from 9/11. Holy crap, bro.
This is
Zoom back in on that so everyone can see it. Look at this. Zoom back in, SCB, so everyone can see. Now zoom back out.
We live in a simulation. What the fuck? Chad, they're laughing at us. That's right. They're making fun of us right to our face. Right to our face. Right in the face. Right in our face. That is some of the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen. If you don't know why that's disrespectful, I question you as a person. I really do. I really fucking do. Yeah. You guys have a blessed day. Peace to the gods.